Hello and welcome back to channel Recap Movies. Today we going to look for the new movie that talk about a group of student girl fighting each other and the title is On Your Own. So let's see what will happen. The first story of the movie in a classroom had 3 cutie students who were school gangster, and the biggest sister named Young-soo. She said to all classmates that 30,000 won of protection fees had to be paid a week. If it were not handed to her she would have been abusive. After hearing she says like this, all the students think she may be nerve-wise and there is no one to spend the money for her. Her factions also walked to 2 sitting male student to claim money, but the male student did not give any money but also took his hat-tacking hand and put it aside. The male student was poised to speak to Young-soo, but she was walked close and plunged one leg in the middle of the chest. Another male student is poised to get up and help his friend, but Young-soo is also slapped on one hand. She was absolutely unusual, seen like this and made her very dominant in class. She also went on to say, "Who dares not pay any more money? Look at the faces of all the students in the class are really afraid of Young-soo." Young-soo also spoke to another pretty girl in her class, named Young-jun. Young-soo asked if you were a pretty girl? But Young-su's faction said she looked not so beautiful. And Young-jun replied that right and I wasn't really beautiful. On the other hand, Young-soo said no, she was very beautiful when out of study time I wanted to meet you a little bit. Looking back at a woman wearing glasses and this woman called Soo-ah, she is a main character in this movie. She is a close friend of Young-jun, she is actually more unsatisfied with Young-su's actions done on Soo-ah. When leaving the classroom, Soo-ah saw Young-jun sitting and cried. Suddenly she was realized that Young-soo had abused Young-jun. Soo-ah asked Young-jun if Young-soo was an abuser? Where are they going now? I will go and retaliate quickly to tell me. But Young-jun says don't go anyway, I don't really want you to get into trouble and be mistreated like me. Young-jun also according to Young-su's appointment when she arrived, Young-su's team beat her as a substance. Soo-ah arrived and said to the younger group, "Hey, what are you doing with my friend?" A female student who beat Young-jun earlier walked to Soo-ah and mocked her. And hit Soo-ah, but Soo-ah was not like Young-jun, she got her hands back. Soo-ah was poised to drag Young-jun's hands out of the room, but Young-soo was knocked down in the middle of her chest to the wall. Meanwhile, another player student walked in and said to Young-soo that you had stopped being abusive to other people. And Young-soo replied that if you were strong, you would come in and strike each other with me. They also fought each other and looked back at each other, despite how many hands did not give up. Fighting for a little while, Young-soo said that today you were quick to leave, I am except for once time. Soo-ah and her friends also left the room because she didn't want to make a big problem. They also leave school to walk down the stairs, and the woman who helped them at those time named Sun Hye, saw her so strong because she had practiced of boxer. When she came down the stairs and accidentally met Sun Hye's brother, she also noticed her friend. Young-jun enthusiastically rode with Soo-ah with a little while Soo-ah and washed her to get home. After Soo-ah left, Young-jun's face immediately turned pounded, she would look so lonely without Soo-ah. When Young-jun arrived home she really didn't hear about opening up a self-house entertainment facility, it looked really messy, she suddenly argued with her mother. She also left home but she had no idea where to go to bed. She also went into mat, while eating noodles Soo-ah walked and saw her. After talking to each other, Soo-ah took Young-jun to her home. She was eating with Soo-ah's family, and looked like happiness and farm welcome to her. The next day Soo-ah was going to Sun Hye's home, when arrived she saw Sun Hye's brother try to practice to boxing. Brother said Sun Hye at the upstairs. She went to upstairs but in her mind she really want to boxing. Scale back to Young-soo team was sitting in the classroom, in fact they also have the big brother behind them. The 3 men were the biggest brother in the school, and the team leader is a man who has gold hair. After that the gold hair man said to Young-soo if you need to claim a lot money from them you must be trouble. Young-soo she doesn't have the courage to oppose big brother either, only to agree. Young-soo then brought Young-jun into the bathroom and she said now I am willing to be friends with you. Young-jun is really happy because from now on she is no longer mistreated. But everything is not like she think. Young-su's friend suddenly pushed Young-jun into the toilet, abused her and said we had no day to be friends. Young-jun embarrassingly walked out of the toilet and she thought no one could help her. Upon returning to class, Soo-ah felt worry, she asked, "Are you okay?" Young-jun replied, "Yes I am." But in her heart is that she no longer wants to learn here because she has always been abused, but she has never told the issue to Soo-ah. After coming out of school, Soo-ah and her friend also came to talk to each other, what to do with the bad students. Sun-hai also says we should take this to Master Soo-ah and agree, and she says it's right, it's a really good way. Soo-ah also approached the master, told all the stories, but had to reply that it was only normal, there was nothing strange. Listen like this, Soo-ah is very desperate when a master has no responsibility. On the other hand, Sun-hai's brother was called by the big brothers. Big brother said I wanted him to get into the group with us. Because they knew Sun-hai's brother was so brilliant at boxing, her brother refused and was hit by them. But Sun-hai's brother was beaten back across the room. The golden-haired man rose up and said, "Are you certain to not enter the group with us? You should know better, and if you opposes us, what kind of results you gets?" They also beat each other, looking strong on both sides, no one gives up. And Sun-hai's brother also said whether you were sure in your hearts that you would be able to overcome me. Soo-ah, she also saw them whipping into a window mirror, she thought Sun-hai's brother was really strong. The next day, Soo-ah came to Sun-hai's brother to practice boxing with him. The brother agreed and they started practicing martial arts to the opponent. He also told her to try kicking a sandbag when kicking one foot, and he said, "Wow, her leg strength is pretty strong." He thought she was like someone who had been trained before. The next day, they practiced really hard. Soo-ah was kicked in the middle of the abdomen by Sun-hai's brother. At the end of the training, he apologized to Soo-ah and told her that I did this to keep you strong and you had to remember everything I taught you. The brother walked away, and Soo-ah said to Sun-hai, "Because he doesn't like me, you know he hit me so hard." Sun-hai replied that it was not true, he liked you, but he only did this to keep you strong. One night, Soo-ah went to Yun-jun's mother and she said, "Auntie, don't worry, Yun-jun let me take care of her. We are both really close." Hearing this, Yun-jun's mother was very happy because her daughter has such a good friend. Meanwhile, Young Sus faction eavesdropped and knew that this shop was Yun-jun's mother's shop. They also spread junk food all over the room to hurt Yun-jun's mother. And even took a picture and sent it to Yun-jun. It was a really bad idea, very disgusting. After Yun-jun saw the picture, she hurried to the store and saw her mother sweeping the room. The next day at school, Yun-jun and Soo-ah were walking to class. They also met Young-soo, Young Sus faction. They repeatedly said to Yun-sun. When they heard this, Soo-ah wanted to attack them, but was stopped by Yun-jun not to cause problems. Every day, Soo-ah goes to train with Sun-hai's brother. Every time before going to practice, she dresses up and make up so that Sun-hai's brother can take care of her because she has a crush on him. While training, Sun-hai's brother was really interested in her. But Sun-hai arrived on time. In the classroom, Soo-ah walked to Yun-jun's seat and also peeked at her phone to find out that she had been threatened several times by Young-soo. After seeing this SMS, she went to see Yun-jun and asked how long you wanted to hide the problem. Yun-jun replied with tears in her eyes that I decided to do this because I do not want people to hurt you like they hurt me, do you understand? After this, Soo-ah hugged Yun-jun with pity. Soo-ah also said that no one dares to hurt you anymore because I am always waiting to help you all the time, so don't worry. The next day, Yun-jun, who was sitting in the classroom, was abused by Young Sus faction. At that moment, Soo-ah came and saw that she was very angry. She took off her glasses and kicked one leg. The student shouted, "You do not know who I am, do you?" Soo-ah did not answer, but hit her several more times, much to the surprise of her classmates. Everyone stood stunned because they did not expect that Soo-ah would dare to do this. Soo-ah and her friends were walking when suddenly Young-soo and her party came face to face. They don't say much, they just fight. Young-soo thinks that Soo-ah can't fight. But unlike what she thought, they fought each other for a while. With no winners, they stopped and made an appointment to fight one by one to win and lose. After that day, Soo-ah, she worked hard, trained but did not rest to become stronger and stronger. Fighting time came, Soo-ah and Young-soo, they stood facing each other. They started fighting. Soo-ah was also hit by Young-soo with one hand on his stomach. But it did not hurt her because she had trained hard. Soo-ah, she hit back at Young-soo and she kicked Young-soo in the leg, causing Young-soo to fall to the ground. Young-soo looks really hurt and angry, and now she is not so proud like before she can do nothing. Now it is clear who really wins and who loses. And Sue, she said, I give you a week to collect the money you previously demanded for all the students to give them back. The movie was end now, and thank you for watching. Please don't forget to click the button subscribe, like, comments, and shares. Thank you. Good luck.